Hello, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Welcome again to Critical Beauty Salon. Today, I have a special guest. Her name is Sheyla Perez. She's an official contestant of Miss Grand Cuba 2023. The pageant will take place in Tampa, Florida on August 20th. And I can't wait to talk to her and just basically get to know her a little bit more. If you have any questions about Sheyla, feel free to post them in the chat box below, and I'd be more than happy to read the questions back to her or the comments to her. So we're just waiting for her to enter the chat. I hope everybody is having a wonderful time. Weekend, Saturday. And she's in. Let's admit her. Hi.
Hello, Mabuhay, ¿cómo estás? Hi, Rafa.
Hi. Hola. Buenos días, todo el mundo.
Buenas, buenas.
You look stunning.
Thank you, my darling.
Listen, Di, do me a favor. Could you fix your camera because I can see your ceiling. I don't want to see the ceiling. I want to see your beautiful face. Perfect. Great. Perfect. Because the door is right behind you and it just frames your stunning, beautiful face. Love
thank
it.
you.
I apologize for being a little too late because I had to test my speaker. And when I was about ready to go live stream, I'm getting this message that you're in a private setting. What do you mean private? So it took me one more minute to turn it into public. So now everything is public. So the whole world can watch it now. Woo-hoo!
Woo. Don't even worry about it, Rafa. I had some technical difficulties of my own randomly. So I had the Zoom open, everything ready to go. I made sure I logged in. I still have my UF account for the Zoom. So I was like, let me just make sure it's fine, that they haven't kicked me off yet, haven't realized I've graduated. But my computer shut down on me and I was like frantically turning it back on. So look at that. Divine timing. Everything happened at once. We're here.
There you go. That's great. How is the weather? You're in Florida.
I am.
How's the weather down there?
Weather's beautiful. Weather is beautiful. Exactly like Goa, maybe a little less wet, although it depends on the day. But the weather's absolutely gorgeous. I recently moved to the Bradenton area. It's sort of a little bit south of Tampa, but I'm right on the river walk, super close to the beach. So every day is a dream.
So how far are you from Tampa?
Depends on the traffic. About an hour.
An hour. Okay. So rush hour, 2 hours?
I haven't tried yet. I hate rush hour traffic that much that I will restructure the whole day to avoid it. Probably.
Well, you girls are lucky because the Miss Grand Cuba pageant will take place in Tampa,
Yes.
right in your state. And what I think the most challenging part would be how many clothes to bring, because you pageant girls, we know that you travel a lot and you carry a heavy load with you, right? Don't you know?
Correct. A little bit easier though. It's not quite like the plane. So I just hop in my car. We'll take 2 cars if we need it. We'll take 3 cars, but we can fit it all in. It's not like I have to pay for the extra luggage, which that was the difficult part.
Yeah, it's funny because when Arbany Gabriel, now Miss Universe, she lives in Houston, Texas, and the competition took place in neighboring Louisiana, which is like 5 hours away. So she didn't have to worry about airfare or the customs and whatnot. So she drove all the way 5 hours. I think she was carrying like a dozen suitcases for her, not including her national costume because her national costume was already in Louisiana.
Yes.
Imagine that. Oh my God. But are you going to drive?
Road trip to USA? Yes, I am. Well, I'll have someone drive me because I am not a great driver. It stresses me out. So I just, when I can, I'm like, you know what? I'll DJ. I'll get the vibes going for the car. Like I'll pack snacks. I'll do everything else. Just don't make me touch the steering wheel. But road trip to the pageant is the only way to do it. I've had some friends compete at USA and all of them opted to take a road trip instead of flying over. And it's the only way. It's so much easier.
It's definitely much easier. And although like a month and a half ago, my partner and I actually, I live in Massachusetts near Boston. We drove to see his sister who lives in Atlanta, Georgia. And then we weren't sure whether we should just fly because it's easier or just drive. Guess what? We drove all the way. It took us about 20 hours to drive.
Oh, goodness.
It was so awful, right? And it costs, of course, gas and tolls and whatnot.
Of course,
And we have a
tolls
dog.
that up.
Yep, and we had a dog, and she's a terrier, so she's like very excited all the time,
Mhm.
But we will never do it again. Next time we go to Atlanta, we're gonna fly, that's for sure.
Ross said, once is enough. Once is enough.
Once is enough. Well, I'm so glad to finally meet you because I've been following your pageant journey for 2 years since you signed up for Miss Grand Cuba. And I've read your bio, and my first impression was that, man, this girl is very intellectual. I mean, she's highly educated, and then she's just really, really, really very committed to her cause. And one thing that I have to say is that, I'm a big Miss Earth fan.
Mhm.
Although some pageant sites don't consider Miss Earth as a Grand Slam pageant, I really don't care, okay? But the most important thing is that the girls who share the same cause as you do get to meet each other and actually work to better the environment, Mother Earth. Now, in the past, I know what I like and appreciate about you is that you're actually taking everything to heart. You're very serious about your cause. I know some Miss Earth contestants or even former Miss Earth winners who, after they stop their reign, they stop their cause. Okay, which is sad. Which is really sad. So, did you compete in Miss Earth simply because of attention, and you used your advocacy as sort of like a trick, to win, or are you going to do this after your reign? Whereas with you, I was like, oh my God, she's busy doing this. She's constantly picking litter in the ocean, trash, educating young people and whatnot. I mean, this is a real Miss Earth Queen. And you were actually in my top 4. You were one of my Miss Earth Queen. You, Netherlands, Korea, and Australia. So I was like stunned when you didn't make it in the top 4. I mean, I'm sure you also were stunned. But you know what? Again, there's a reason for everything, right?
Of course.
And different pageant, different judges, different preferences. So it all boils down to judges' preference, basically.
Sure.
All 4 of you were outstanding. You were
thank you.
did a great Miss Earth, really, really. So congratulations. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And you're back and competing again. Woo-hoo!
After retiring for the 4th time, I think. So I was like, all right, it's time to give it, thank you all for the support. I'm so glad you joined me on this journey. I am now retired. I've said that 4 times in my life, and then it's almost like clockwork. Exactly a year later, I'm like, we could do another,
Right.
And here we are.
And here you are. Now, of course, I know you. A lot of people know you, especially the Miss Earth fans, followers who know you. To those people out there in the sub-Saharan Africa, or to the North Pole, or to the Antarctic Pole, who have never heard of you and they're watching, please say a little about yourself to these people.
Of course. Well, hello, and thank you for tuning in wherever you might be in the world. My name is Sheyla Ravelo Perez. I was originally born in Cuba, San Antonio de los Baños, but I actually lived in Gabriel, very, very small village in Cuba. I immigrated to the United States with my family when I was young, and so I've been here ever since, although I visit back and forth. I am a recent graduate of the University of Florida. I got my degree in health education and behavior, specialization in health studies, concentration in chemistry, but have now pivoted my career and am fully committed into conservation, marine science, and ocean restoration. I am now a PADI scuba specialty diver, and I'm also Cuba's national director for the UN Ocean Decade ECOP program.
Wow, that's impressive. You know what? I'm not afraid of swimming, but haven't tried scuba diving. Convince someone like me to try scuba diving, because sometimes I have this fear of like drowning and stuff.
Okay. I'm the perfect person to ask this because I actually got my scuba certification along with 2 other friends. And I didn't realize how common this was until, we're down there. And after that first dive together, you get very close because you have to depend on each other. That's your buddy. You're staying together no matter what. They're your safety, they're your lifeline, you're theirs. And so a lot of people actually pursue scuba diving specifically because they're afraid of the ocean. And so it's like an extreme exposure therapy, but let me tell you, it works. So one of actually my closest mentors, Dr. Dayanra, who's the Caribbean coordinator for my program, he is a renowned marine biologist. This man, PADI master instructor, like as real as it gets. This man was afraid of water and he couldn't swim for the longest time, but he developed a curiosity for the ocean. He was like, we're getting over this. We're nipping this in the bud. And so he really just threw himself in it. And so for anyone who might be scared of water, whether it's a phobia of drowning, whether you fear maybe not so much water, but the unknown, or whether it's you think a shark's going to come up and bite you, I really encourage you to take the plunge, because there is no feeling like being down there and it just being serene. And you really just feel like you're a part of the ecosystem. It's not like you're visiting. It's not like you're just observing, like snorkeling. You're down there and you're a part of it, and the fish are interacting with you, and it's a piece unlike anything I've ever known. Truly.
That's amazing. You know what? I'm going to take your challenge, but I'm going to try baby steps. I'm going to start with a 3 feet deep pool. How's that?
Yeah, no, it's a perfect start. So even with the scuba diving, we start people off teaching them in a pool. So you'll get to practice all of the skills, getting your mask ripped off, putting it back on. We'll practice what happens if your tank runs out of air, everything in a pool before we move into deeper water. And then even then we're incrementally getting deeper and deeper with each dive. So a pool's a perfect way to start. And also free diving. So just going out in the ocean, get yourself like a little mat that has a nose piece, makes it a little bit easier to equalize. Just dive down there, see how long you can stay down, look at the fish and try to calm your heart rate. And that's a beautiful stepping stone to everything else.
And of course you have to have, I think one thing that I'm scared about is the current of the water. If the current's very strong, then I don't think it's a good idea, right? To just come and diving if the current is like very strong. It'd be suicidal.
Yes.
Oh. So no.
The biggest thing, any water sport, any extreme sport, is environmental awareness. You've got to know what's going on with where you're at. So ask locals, talk to locals, see where the riptide currents are, know when high tide and low tide is going to be approximately. And when in doubt, I think everyone's like first instinct when you're scared and you're under the water is like, okay, I got to get to the surface. Something's wrong. We got to get up there. Do not do that. You actually want to get down lower, stay low to the bottom, fix whatever's going on. That way, get out of the current. Or if there's, say, a shark appears, environmental risk, get low to the bottom, because if you're up top, you kind of look like a seal.
Right. Yeah.
You look like prey splashing, you're panicking. So get down low, calm your heart rate, breathe, fix what needs fixing, and then it's much easier to solve the problems. It takes a little while to get used to that, though, because your first instinct is like, nope, gotta go. Gotta go.
Well, you know what? You can just take the challenge. So people out there, if you're looking for an excellent scuba instructor, please call Sheyla, okay? I'm going to put your contact number, by the way.
But Dames, that's who my mentor is, who certified me. And I think that helped a lot. That is the best. That man is incredible.
People are actually watching us. Can you believe it? So we have, our good friend, Runway Papi. He's amazing. He's amazing. He's like, he would leave me all these like cute, like very endearing messages and whatnot on my Instagram. And then we haven't met in person, so we can't wait to see each other in Tampa. And we have.
Are you coming?
Lulu Feliu is watching too. Hi, Lulu.
Oh, hey, boo.
You know what?
Rafa, are you coming to Tampa?
Yes, I am, baby. Yeah.
I didn't know you were.
I decided at the very last minute, because you know what? It's like less than a month away, and then I have to look for the cheapest airfare.
Sure.
And it's not too far. Maybe 2.5 hours. Stops. Plus I've never been to Tampa. I've been to Orlando. I've been to Miami, Fort Lauderdale, but never to Tampa. So I can't wait. Yeah.
Well, y'all heard it here first. Rafa's going to be in Tampa. Little meet and greet. Show up.
And Lise Garcia is expecting me too, right, Lise? If you're watching. But as I was going to say, there's so many amazing, talented, beautiful Cuban girls. Okay.
Of course.
It is just so sad that Miss Universe has not accepted Cuba as a participating country. I just really don't understand. I know the political issue and everything, but come on, if you need to bypass politics, people, okay? Mm-hmm. Cuba needs great representation in Miss Universe, and in every pageant for that matter.
Yes.
And it's just so sad that everything's been politicized these days. And if you're talking about like the inclusion, hello, include Cuba, okay? It's just ridiculous, totally ridiculous. Oh, Runway Papi says, we are Tampa virgins. Girl, you've never been to Tampa yourself? Okay, all right, we'll party. Two Tampa virgins. Oh, that's funny. Okay, so how did you get interested in pageants to begin? Were you forced by anyone or did you join voluntarily?
No, I joined completely of my own will. My parents, they were always very big on, they never wanted us to be forced into anything. They weren't going to push us. They essentially wanted us to make our own way and kind of find our own interests. And just once we found something, they would support us all the way. But the way I got into pageants is actually my older sister. I have one older sister. Her name's Chabelli. I call her Belly, like my little Tinker Belly, because she's very petite. She got involved in pageants. And so I was about 10 years old. Now, my sister is 5 years older than me. On a whim, she decided she was going to do our local pageant. In Florida, I lived in a very small town called Lake Placid. So very small town. This pageant had been there since the 50s. So very cute.
Right?
What happened?
And crocodiles or alligators in Lake Placid, don't they?
Okay. Yes. So many of them. But she got involved. She, on a whim, signed up. And so she won. That was her first pageant ever. She won the whole thing. She won the grand title. She won photogenic, just swept. And so over the course of the next year, I followed her to all of her events and I'm just there, her little duckling. Like I've always been watching her. And so I think you always look up to your older siblings, but that was just a new level of appreciation for her because our town, we were like one of 3 Cuban families. I mean, but my sister was the first ever Hispanic winner in the history of that pageant. And so the next year I was like, Mom, sign me up. We're doing this. We prepared. And so I entered. My sister's giving up her title. I was going to win. It was going to be this like very emotional thing. Lost. Rough. We enter our next pageant. We entered together. My sister won. I lost again. And so I was like, you know what? At this very young age, 11, I was like, I'm taking a year off. We're coming back next year. That next year, I competed again. I won. And then me and my sister were actually sister queens as well. So we got to go to events together, get ready together. And who I won was also with my best friend. She won in a different age group. And so it was the 3 of us just getting ready together and doing all of this. And so ever since then, I've been hooked. She's since retired. I've kept going with it. I can't imagine that my parents ever expected it to go this far. They didn't know nothing about pageants. They're like, you know what? It's our girls are in it. We're going to support them 100%. And so here we are.
Yeah, I mean, I think, any person, any child who has very supportive parents
Yes.
is very lucky. Because these days, there's so many parents who tend to be very rigid and strict with the rules as far as disciplining their kids. Mm-hmm. But I think you need a sort of a good sense of balance, though. I mean, yes. Discipline is great, but too much discipline, like extreme discipline, is not good either.
Yes.
So you have to create a little balance. So I'm happy. So your sister retired for good? I mean, she
retired from pageants. She did. She's on a different phase of her life now. She's married,
Well, married women, hello, they have
can compete
for married women, right? And
there are. Listen, Rafa, I'm trying. We'll see. I'm trying. We're doing all we can. I think maybe I need to try a little harder. We'll see. We'll get I'll talk to her husband. We'll both just subliminally leave messages and then she'll think it's her idea. It'll be great.
And tell her that one of the worst things in life is to regret not doing something that you actually really like in your heart.
That is true.
So
that's very true.
It's never too late for anybody. I mean, there are pageants literally for all age groups anyway. So even if now, who knows, 30, 40 years from now, she'll compete against some grandmother pageant and she'll win. Who knows? So
I'm waiting also for a little niece to come into the picture. And then we put her in pageants and we get to kind of relive all of that. So maybe that'll be when it happens. I'm open to either possibility.
Stage mom, I bet. She's going to be pushing her daughter. Go, go, go.
They'll have the dream team. It's me as an aunt, her as mom.
That's amazing. What? So of course, I imagine you're a very, very warm, very exuberant, very, very friendly young woman. what would your best friend, your friends, your family describe you in 3 adjectives? 3 adjectives, babe.
All right. They describe me definitely as hardworking, funny, and compassionate. It's funny you say that. So my 2 best friends, Sheyla and Brittany, I've known them since high school and we're still together to this day. They'll be at the pageant too, so you'll meet them. They have described me quite literally as the human personification of joy. Have you seen the movie Inside Out? Joy, the character?
No, I don't think so.
It's this little Disney movie, and it's essentially you look inside the brain of a little girl, and she has every character is like one of her emotions, and they're all like controlling. And so it's a really good movie. It teaches kids about emotions and kind of managing feelings, but joy is just joy, and she's yellow and bright and happy and bouncing off the walls. And they've called me the human personification of joy, and it's just the sweetest thing every time I hear it because lets me know I'm being viewed as what I'm trying to exude in a sense.
Oh, that's amazing. You know what? If you're like joy, then I would think yellow is your favorite color because yellow is the color of joy.
It is, but no, certain kinds of yellow very pretty. I don't look great in yellow. It's almost a shame, really. But green is my absolute favorite color. I love green.
I like that color that you're wearing right now. It's like it's dark blue.
It's teal. Yeah.
Yeah.
We got rainbow earrings to match. We've got yellow and green right here next to each other.
Beautiful. I love like tall. The bigger earrings, the better, I think.
Me too.
The big amount of like chandelier earrings and stuff and everything.
I like the fun earrings too. I think I have a pair where it's like little leaves, and then it's a big gemstone like lemon slice, and they're super cute. I wear with like these little sundresses, and I call it my picnic outfit.
That's wonderful. Now, what do you like to do for fun, Missy?
Well, apart from scuba diving,
Apart from scuba diving, and
I also love to swim. So a hop and a skip over. I'm a swimmer by heart. That was my absolute first love. I was a competitive swimmer since I was 14, and now I mostly just swim for fun, but also, sometimes for work, given the nature of what it is I'm doing. And of course, for exercise, swimming is the main component of my physical preparation for the upcoming pageant. And dancing. I love to dance. It's also a really big part of my culture.
Yeah.
So I dance with my parents, and my parents always have music playing in the house. So whenever I go visit, it's like I see my dad, hug, kiss, so we're so excited, and then just salsa in the living room. Then I'm learning electric guitar.
Ooh, okay. So what is your best stroke as far as swimming goes? Butterfly, breaststroke, freestyle?
At my peak of physical fitness, when I was like 14 and had the metabolism and was eating like 5,000 calories a day to keep up with it, I did butterfly and I was great at it. So now freestyle, probably sprinting. I'm getting back into butterfly. We're slowly working back up to it, but it's harder than I remember.
I think
it's rough.
Butterfly is the most difficult stroke, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of like the side stroke. Just like, woo. I mean, I know how to swim, but I like the side stroke. Something
nice.
about the position.
It's relaxing.
Yeah, it's very relaxing. I kind of like the doggy style swim too.
A little dark.
Yeah, like, woo. Cute. Now, okay, so this is an interesting question. Mm-hmm. What part of your body do you like the most and do you like the least? Is that too personal?
No, it's fine. That's fine. Let me ruminate on it. Okay. I think my favorite part of my body, I like my smile. I think my smile is just like, it takes up my whole face. It's very joyful. And so I love when I look at a picture and I'm laughing and you can just see it radiates how happy I am. My least favorite part of my body, I've worked very hard to kind of maintain a relationship with my body where, because I was an athlete growing up, and even from a very young age, I think it kind of put me in a sense where I really appreciated my body for the things it could do. And I didn't think too much about how it looked or trained to look a certain way until pageants a little bit, because then we gotta, we nip and tuck where we gotta. You know what? I'm gonna say I like my legs how they look, but I don't know where the muscle deficiency is. I don't have the strongest legs. Like I can't jump very high, and it's a running joke among my entire family, I get 2 inches off the ground. It doesn't matter. I will swing my arms, I get into like a low squat, everything. There, it's embarrassing, to be quite honest with you. I used to dive too. My coaches would be like, Sheyla, jump. We're doing burpees, jump. And I was like, I am.
Well, listen, I'm looking at this banner of yours in swimsuit. Is this your current physique right now? That's your current build right now? Okay.
Yes. So the one on, I guess, your left, the little circle, the headshot is more current than the one on the right. But yes, I would say though, just because this, pictures are edited somewhat airbrushed, you lose a little bit. My waist is a little bit smaller than you see in the full body picture. I have a little bit more of an exaggerated ratio, so it's very like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, being Latina, of course, you're very curvy,
Yes.
And I think your look overall, like face-wise, you have a very commercial look. And I think you'll do very well in Asia as far as marketing, like skincare products. Skincare is very big. You know that, right?
Yes.
Skincare products are very big in Asia. And something about your face is very radiant and glowing.
Oh, thank you.
Being dark, are you a natural dark-haired brunette?
Yes.
Yes, okay, all right. Because brunettes do very, very well as models in Asia. So I can see you probably in Thailand or maybe in Japan, like doing some model work. Yeah. So when you
conveniently the location of the 2 pageants they're gonna crown for,
or you can find yourself going back to the Philippines and working there. Who knows? Filipinos love Latinas too. So that's wonderful. Now, Sheyla, darling, of course, we have phobias, we have our fears. What is your deepest fear, baby?
Oh my God. It used to be like deep, dark water. I've worked on it since. The diving has especially helped. I feel like we imagine that when we go down there, you're going to have all the animals immediately there, but most of the ocean is like empty space. And you'll see the occasional, depending on where you're at. If you're in a coral reef, you'll see more fish. But even then, it's not like you're like bumping into animals. We've got personal space down there. And so I think that quelled a lot of the fear. I'd say the fear now, especially as a young professional, kind of coming up in her career, kind of being in the middle of a pivot, a shift in my career, would be the fear of like wasted potential.
Right.
That's a very big fear. And so I'm someone that I get over fears by proving to myself that I'll be okay. And so deep, dark water, we're going in, we're in it, everything's fine. All right, I feel better. And now I'm proving to myself by working hard that successes kind of come and accumulate. And then you kind of prove to yourself that you're capable of doing hard things, that you're on the right path. And then I think the fear is starting to quell a little bit, starting to subside.
Yeah, but I don't think you're smart enough not to probably take one of those like inky-dinky submarines like the Ocean Gate just to see the ruins, the rest of the Titanic at the bottom of the ocean, right? So that was sad. That was very, very sad.
So sad.
Yeah, it was
especially the little boy. I had heard the story that it was one of the younger gentlemen. He was there with his dad, and so he initially didn't want to go. He was very panicked about it, had a lot of anxiety leading up to the trip, but it was for his dad, and they were going for Father's Day, and so he went down. And that story just breaks my heart to think of their last moments. No, it's awful what happened. I think it was an important opportunity to look and hold companies accountable, private companies accountable to meeting safety standards and not just prioritizing profits over everything, because there's real implications to cutting costs on safety, something like safety, for example, in the interest of saving money. It was a senseless tragedy.
Exactly, because if you're going to be a daredevil, I mean, do something at least on land or where people can see you, not somewhere in the deep dark ocean where nobody can see you. And then there's hardly any. It's very cold. You're gonna freeze to death anyway. So what's the point? So, all right, people, just remember that. Opt for bungee jumping instead. It's better for you. Or swimming dogs.
Get the side stroke on. Very efficient, relaxing.
Now, name 3 things that I know you like adventures and challenges, but 3 things that probably you would never do in your lifetime, ever, even if they pay $1 million, never.
So bungee jumping.
Come on.
I don't want to fall. Listen, it's a very different death. I know the scuba diving, everything, it's very different. Okay, there you'll kind of underwater, you'll pass out, you'll run out of oxygen eventually. I imagine it's more peaceful. Bungee jump, what if it like snaps and then I just fall to my death? I don't want to fall to my death. Which brings me to skydiving. That one I'm a little softer on, maybe. Maybe I might do it, but bungee jumping, skydiving's kind of up there. I don't know that I'd like the sensation of falling. And then never do. I guess this one's like a little bit more personal. The other two are like, no, we're not doing this, purely safety reasons. This one is more so something I'm really actively trying not to ever let happen again would be to let comments online make me question anything about myself, particularly with, my last run at an international pageant. When you're new to that sort of thing, and I'd competed in pageants for a long time, but I'd never done anything of that magnitude. I don't think I was ready for the influx of both support and hate that was going to come in. I really just went into Earth and I expected, I was like, we're here to have fun. I had no expectations of placing or even making it as far as I did going in, but the tide very quickly turned as the medals came in and everything else. And so I wasn't necessarily prepared for the influx of comments. I would read the comments very often. And after a while, it did start to wear on me, but I stand more assured of myself now, stronger in my purpose, and much more resilient. And so I will never let that happen again.
What was the worst online comment you've ever read about you?
What made it worse was that they were like very long, well-written messages. If it was like, I hate you, I could, all right. But it was like very long things. I remember someone wrote, I don't even remember who it was. It was this long message, like critiquing everything about my appearance and everything they hated about me. It was awful. And it was so prominent because I wouldn't go looking for it, but people were finding. My grandmother uploaded a photo of me, like, oh, I'm so proud of. People were in my family's pages, like private pages, commenting these awful things to both me and my grandmother. And so that was terrible to see.
So do you block these people or do you just delete their comments or what?
No, I do.
You do? Yeah.
No, I do.
I think that's the best way,
I restrict access. I don't delete the comments just because I want it there. You said what you said. Stand by what you said. Mm-hmm. But if the harassment gets to be too much, absolutely, I will block someone because I'm not going to let anyone harass me. But I will leave the comment because you said what you said. Stand by it.
Mm-hmm. I think, all these people who post all these nasty comments, obviously, are keyboard warriors and they use a lot of anonymous accounts, but they do the same things that they cannot say in front of your face. Like
of course.
Person, no, because they're cowards and stuff. I constantly get all these like comments and but with me, I get very, very defensive sometimes. It is just a picture and I tend to fight back. If you can say anything about me, but not about my dog, not about my family, whatnot.
Yeah.
I'm your target. I'm willing to give myself as your target. Sure. I will fight back, just to let you know, and I will shame you online. Okay, it's worse. So don't tread on me, Rafa. Okay. Runway Papi says, pageant life is all absolutely teaching balance, living life, work hard, and be an inspiration. She is our Cuban Dayanra Torres, Miss Universe 1993, who looks gorgeous still. She's almost like
50. To this day. This woman's radiant.
Amazing too. Amazing. Yeah, she does. Yeah, you kind of look like Dayanra Torres.
I get that a lot.
Yes, and she could be your mother. So amazeballs. All right, now we all love makeup. I know makeup. I'm wearing a powder right now. One of my favorites. I have like very shiny forehead, and I have to like get rid of my glimmer. Name 3 makeup products that you cannot live without. You have to have them in your purse all the time.
So for me, always lip gloss. It's just something so fun and feminine. And especially, I feel like that's the first makeup we get to play with as kids. For a lot of women, it's the first thing you get is one of those little rollerball lip glosses. And so there's something so nostalgic about it as well. So always a sparkly lip gloss. I would say I prefer it to lipstick too, because it's just more comfortable. I also love highlighter. I love the kind of push that we're seeing in makeup now with the trends of like very dewy kind of skin-like finish, where it almost just looks like you're not sweaty, but you're in like you're on an island. It's humid. There's like a breeze in your hair. It's very natural, but bronzy and glowy. It's like a goddess that just came out of water. I love it, love it, love it. Highlighter. And then the last would definitely be not technically a makeup product, but I also use it to double as my primer. A good sunscreen. A good sunscreen, good sun protection under the skin. I always do either Korean or Japanese brand just because they're much more advanced with the chemical filters than we are here in the US. And so sits beautifully under the skin, also works as a makeup primer, but is giving me the protection I need because I spend a lot of time outdoors, as you can imagine.
How do you describe us your like skincare regimen? Like, how do you like? You don't go to bed with makeup on, right?
No, but while you're at a pageant, sometimes you don't always have time. What we used to do, and this is a secret, don't talk about. What we used to do was, okay, we've only got like 2 or something hours to sleep, 4 hours, whatever it may be. If we take off our makeup now, we're going to have to put it back on. That cuts into the sleep. What we're going to do, we're going to refresh. We'll go to bed and then we'll just, and it'll be fine. So we cut corners sometimes there, and that happens with modeling or pageants. Sometimes you got it, but I'm very bare bones when it comes to skincare. So since I have the background in health and I did the dermatology internship, very, very simple. We have a very gentle, fragrance-free, non-soap cleanser for the face, get everything off, double cleanse if I have any makeup or like thick sunscreen on. Then moisturizer, very simple. Again, no fragrance, very bare bones. I use the Cetaphil one that comes in a tube, something a little thicker just for like the extra hydration. Let that dry down. And then I actually do use tretinoin. Are you familiar with tretinoin? Okay, so tretinoin is essentially pharmaceutical grade prescription retin-A, which is a derivative of vitamin A. It's the active form. You've probably heard of retinol. That's in kind of over-the-counter products.
I use it every day. Yeah.
Yes. So that's the deactivated version. The activated version is prescription only strength, and you get it from your dermatologist. Or now adapalene is available over the counter by the brand name Differin. So you can get that as well. But tretinoin, retin-A is the only proven form that we have of medicine that can actually like reverse things like wrinkles or deep skin damage. It essentially accelerates the process of cell turnover. And so your skin just renews quicker. It does also make your skin very sensitive to sun. So again, the sunscreen comes big into play. It's also available in an ingestible form, or Accutane. Have you ever heard of the acne medicine Accutane? That's what that is as well. It's just a much higher dose. And so it just increases the cell turnover and makes your skin like brand new. Your skin's just working overtime. And so I do use that in the morning. All the sunscreen reapply every 2 hours while I'm outdoors.
And of course, you drink lots of water, right?
Yes, yes, of course.
Fresh fruits and vegetables, nothing processed.
Green smoothie every morning.
Now, when you competed in Miss Earth, they actually had a segment where the girls had to be judged without makeup. What did you think of that segment? Did you think it was fair?
Well, I mean, yes, every pageant, given that they're private companies, and essentially, I think a pageant almost is like a very long, drawn out interview process for the job of whatever title holder it is that you want to be. And so if that's the requirement of the pageant, I either have to be okay with it or I don't enter. And so they do set that forward. It's beauty of the face, but you are allowed to wear in the instructions. It's, facial powder, and you can do your eyebrows. But that's the extent of it. It's not anything like heavy makeup or contouring or coverage, but you're allowed to kind of mattify the skin and brush the eyebrows, which is what we did. And so I was fine with it. I think, especially now where we're so oversaturated and constantly like pummeled with images that are edited or really overdone, we almost start to think that that's the normal. That's what everyone looks like 100% of the time. I almost think it's refreshing to kind of get a glimpse back at this is what our natural state is, and our natural state is worthy of being publicated on a global stage.
Personally, I think that segment is good, only because if you're going to do Miss Earth, people will expect you to get down on your knees and touch dirt. And I can't imagine like a made-up beauty queen like actually getting down on her knees, planting a tree, and not getting her nails dirtied up or whatever. And so, yeah, I think it's more realistic to see a beauty queen with less makeup, with hardly any makeup at all, and doing all this earth stuff,
Sure.
They should keep this tradition, actually. And I think all pageants should be doing this no makeup segment thing,
Yeah.
So that's great. Now, here's a good question.
What?
Sheyla, if there were no rules in your life just for one day and you could be totally, totally outrageous, what would you do?
Okay, Rafa, here's the thing. If you could guarantee me that like no one's gonna look at me sideways when this happens, like no one's gonna bat an eye. It's just that there's no rules for me and like we're cool. Anything goes, right? No
And
repercussions. Everything's fine. I'm not wearing clothes. Come on. That immediately no. I always make the joke of like, listen, my Taino ancestors were on a beach eating fruit, then Columbus came, and then things happened. But that was where I was supposed to be. I'm supposed to be on a beach, enjoying in the sun, eating fruit, swimming, enjoying. That's where I'm meant to be. I feel a little bit robbed.
Well,
but that's exactly what I do.
Let's go back to the original Garden of Eden, where both Daddy Adam and Mama Eve were totally naked. And plus, we're all born naked anyway. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So, hey, you know what? Go for it. You have my blessing. Go to some tropical island and just take off your clothes and just be crazy. Eat all the food.
Tampa, we're taking some, me and you. We're going to walk, me, you, and Lewis, because he said he's a Tampa virgin too. We're walking around.
That's right. We're all going to run around Tampa naked, okay?
Exactly.
With high heels on, to make our
be
legs.
there or be square. You heard it here first, Tampa, August 20th.
We're all going to be naked.
We're outside.
All right, Sheyla, me, and Louise. Oh my God, this is hilarious. What do most people think is true about you, but in reality, it's not?
Okay, so surprisingly, I've seen this a lot online, and it's a little surprising that the rumor has gone this far because it's easily verifiable that it's not true. I don't know where it started, but a lot of people think I was born in the US or that I was born in Europe and that I wasn't actually like born in or didn't live in Cuba. I have my birth certificate. It's a little post-it that they give you and it's typewritten, and then I have my Cuban passport. Also, I wouldn't be allowed to compete if that were necessarily true and I couldn't prove heritage. But it's like little rumors start and then they go crazy. But yeah, that I didn't live there.
But how old were you when you emigrated to the US?
I was very young, so I was about 5 years old, but we did take one trip. The process used to be a lot harder to get a Cuban passport. It's very involved. And it was very expensive. And of course, the Cuban passport is one of the most restrictive passports in the world. You can go very, very few places without a visa. So I got mine, and then we traveled with my mom and my sister. We went back when I was about 12, 11 years old. And then we maxed out the visa. We stayed there for 3 months. And then we came back. And now I'm in the process of getting mine renewed again so I can go and visit and, of course, be more hands-on and be down on the ground, particularly relating to my work. The rules just changed. Now the passport will last 10 years instead of the 6 that it used to be. It used to be 6 years, and every 2 years you had to do an additional process to extend it 2 more years and pay again. Now it's 10 years, one price, and the price has gone down. So I'm currently in the process of getting mine again.
Now, when you became a US citizen, did you have to renounce your Cuban citizenship?
I have both.
Dual. Oh, okay, so you can travel back and forth. That's
yes,
right.
But I need to hold both passports to travel back and forth, essentially because of the political tensions with the US. I need to hold both if I want to travel between the 2 countries. And at any time, the rules could somewhat change. So when I have children, there's a special process for them as well, unless I marry someone of Cuban descent as well, that they'll have to get a visa to be able to travel. And then depending on where my life partner ends up being from, he may or may not be able to travel to Cuba with me.
Interesting.
There's a lot of gray area.
Of course, yeah. Now, Lise told me not to ask political questions to the contestants, but I'm going to break that rule and I'm going to ask you one anyway.
I'll tell on you.
So, well, you're a beauty queen. You're supposed to be able to respond to all sorts of questions, right?
Ask me anything you want.
Right. Okay. Now, related to Cuban politics. Okay. Well, I've heard from some of my, Cuban American friends, Puerto Rican American friends, that Cuba actually has one of the best healthcare and education system in the world. Everything's free, so you don't have to suffer, but not. I think the main problem is that they lack the freedom of expression. Okay, they cannot criticize the government. So, so do you think Cuba is entirely a dictatorship?
So that's a complex question, and I'll answer in a few different parts. Because I also think this is a good opportunity to educate as well, because ever since essentially the rise of the embargo, Cuba was shut off from a lot of mainstream media sources. And so no information until recently. Now with social media, a bit more information comes in. And so Cuba is able to see more world news, but no information gets out. So I think a lot of people don't really know what life looks like over there in actuality. I do think the current system is a dictatorship because it does not allow for any opposing party to run. It's essentially, here's who it is. If there's no actual freedom of choice in who's leading you, then I think it qualifies as dictatorship. Now, yes, we do have universal healthcare and universal education for all. And so Cuban Americans, Cuban citizens are some of the most educated people in the world, incredibly, incredibly intelligent. The ingenuity of our people is amazing, of what they can make happen with very little resources. The biggest downfall to that is not only the lack of freedom of expression. That is by far one of the biggest pain points, essentially, with the current system. It's also the fact that there's absolutely no resources. So yes, we have all of these doctors that are incredibly intelligent and well educated, but they don't get paid. Everyone gets the same kind of monthly salary. It equates to about still $25 per month, which isn't enough to buy food in most cases. And there's absolutely no resources. So there is lacks of medicine, lack of vital equipment, lack of resources, lack of proper sanitation. And those are the downfalls of it. It's not the people, nor their education status or the knowledge. It's all of the resources around them that are just completely disseminated and lacking, essentially.
Right. Do they use the dollar as a currency, the US dollar?
Not the US dollar. So the US dollar, I think as of right now, is still outlawed. The thing about the financial system, it's changed quite a bit in the last few years. So currently there's 3 forms of currency that are used in Cuba. I think we're up to 3 now, but it's always changing. So one, I think the most recent would be the CUC, which is essentially a card, and it has to be refilled by someone overseas. So you have to have family that's somewhere else. They send in money. Of course, that money is picked at the amount before it gets put onto there. And that can be used to buy things in the general stores. There's the Cuban dollar. There's also, unless it's another form of currency, or is the card that they give you that you can use for food in supermarkets. That one's also pretty unreliable. So as it stands, I believe there's 3 systems of currency that are going on, but the US dollar is not accepted there. However, of course, there's always underground markets to transfer the Cuban dollar and convert and kind of stash.
Do you see Cuba, let's say, progressing forward anytime soon, despite the dictatorship?
You know, I do, because I have hope, especially with, the movement of Patria y Vida that's been going on since a few years now. So about 2 years ago is when the movement really, I don't want to say started, but really came to the forefront of consciousness. And so it was out, rampant protests in the streets, and it was Cuban people for the first time almost had hope. They were fighting back. Now, there have been very devastating repercussions to, those political showings, but even still, the movement is going very strong. For some of the first time, we've had, Cuban artists that have made music that's gone viral and mainstream, kind of shedding light on the issues, speaking for the Cuban people, and of course, calling for liberation. And so Patria y Vida is a play on the initial phrase that was used during the Cuban Revolution when the Castro family came to power, which was patria o muerte, which was homeland or death. Either you give me my homeland or we die for it. And now with the call for liberation, y Cuba libre, it's Patria y Vida, which is homeland and life. We are fighting for our homeland and our life.
That makes sense, because when I was watching Miss Grand International 2021, the Cuban delegate, Giselle Vaillant, she wore this stunning costume, and then she brandished a Cuban flag, and with the words Patria y Vida. So I was like, okay, okay, now everything makes sense. Okay,
Yeah.
that's wonderful. Okay, Cuban government, we have here this beautiful Cuban American, okay, telling exactly what's going on in your country. And I hope you don't censor or cancel her, okay, when she tries to visit the country again, okay? You know what? I'm gonna accompany. I'm gonna be your escort. I'm gonna be your chaperone. I'm gonna be your bodyguard.
Yes.
How's that? All right.
Come through.
We'll protect you. Papi, I give you permission to talk about politics. Okay, thank you, Luisito, mi amor. Woo. Lulu says the same, which means she's gonna join us being naked. All right, so then explore.
As she should.
It should be a naked segment, Miss Grand Cuba. What do you think?
Let me like have some glitter,
There you go.
you know, and I'm down.
Yeah.
We'll make it happen. Like a little tasteful something, you know, like artistic. We'll get something going.
Something grand. That's cute. Now, here's a good question. What would a world populated by clones of you be like, baby girl?
You know, my immediate thought is efficient. I'm someone that prides myself on my sense of responsibility. And so when I say I'm going to get something done, it's going to be done on time, very thorough to the extent of my ability. And so my first thought is efficient. But when I first thought of that question, I happened to be at work. So maybe it was just the environment. But efficient, I think it'd be fun. I think nudist, probably, given our previous conversation. But I think it'd be just like very bubbly, very fun. It'd be like very girly, you know, nature everywhere. We've got animals kind of roaming around. We're definitely returning to the land. We all have homesteads, everyone's gardening. And so it'd be very in touch with nature, very efficient, and very warm and welcoming.
Efficient and naked. Now, you're a world traveler. How many countries have you visited?
Hold on. All right.
While you ponder, I'm going to put on more powder in my forehead. Yes.
Might be up to like 6 or 7 now.
Okay. So you've been
hoping to make it more.
Hopefully to make it more. So have you been to Europe?
You know, I haven't. It's really been, you know, Latin America, Caribbean, and then Asia. I just bypassed Europe this year.
A lot of Cubans actually, they're descendants of Spaniards, right?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So do you have any relatives, like maybe distant relatives living in Spain that you may want to visit or something someday?
Not any distant relatives that I know of, because I think the lineage is far removed enough to where I don't know, but ancestors definitely came over and kind of mingled with the population. So as the current status of the Caribbean, it's very few people are like, all right, yeah, my descendants were Spaniard or my descendants were all this. It's so blended. Really, all the Caribbeans are really, at least for the Latin American Caribbeans. And so Puerto Rico, Dominica Republicana, Cuba are very much a mix of Taino, which were the indigenous peoples, the indigenous Arawak people of the Caribbean, Western Africans, and Spaniards mostly, maybe with some mixtures of some other things. But that creates a beautiful blend, like mixed variety bag of traits. And so we really can look like anything. Even me, I'm very pale. I kind of joke that my mom ran out of ink because my family looks like traditionally Hispanic, traditionally Latino, what you would expect. But I've also been told, oh, you look very Cuban, or I didn't think you were Cuban at all. So it really just is a mixture, and all of that can be presented within one family and even one generation.
Well, you know what? If you lighten your hair, let's say if you change your hair to blonde, you can easily pass up as a gringa, like Lulu. Lulu, the first time I saw her, oh my gosh, she's like gringa, she's blonde hair, whatever. Like, girl, please. So yeah, definitely. But I like the way you look right now, because I think you look very fresh. You look very fresh. You're very, you have a very beautiful, like stunning face. Like very.
Thank you.
Now, what makes you mad?
I hate when people I shouldn't say hate, it frustrates me when people take themselves too seriously. Like none of us are so high, grand, and mighty that we can't laugh at ourselves or admit when we're wrong. It's life is about growth. Take things in stride, laugh at yourself, be comfortable with yourself enough to, you know what, I made a mistake. Let me take ownership. Let me take responsibility. Let me step up and apologize. Or even, you know what, let me try better next time. Let me do something different. And so I think it's that complacency and kind of lack of willingness to change because you're so like, no, I'm great. That really frustrates me because I think that's what life is. It's a journey of self-discovery and self-love and self-growth.
The 3 L's: laugh, live, love.
That's what it.
Yeah, so yeah, for some reason, so many people out there have difficulty like finding, like appreciating a simple sense of humor. Like when I post something on my Instagram, which I thought was funny, but other pageant fans think it's cruel or a sense of bullying. My response would be, lighten up, people. It's just a joke, okay? Like, laugh, live, and love. That's what I say. You people are too serious. Now, talk about habits. I know I have plenty of them. What's one habit that you want to get rid of completely? And one habit that you want to keep?
To get rid of completely, it's not quite procrastinating, but it's kind of like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like doom scrolling or doom thinking. It's like you get upset and then that's all you can think about. You kind of cycle. You're like, no, this is going to go wrong. And this is going to go wrong because of this. And because this is going to go wrong, everything else is going to go wrong. And then before I know, I'm going to end up alone and dead. It spirals a little bit. And so I've really been trying to nick that in the bud and instead thinking, okay, what if the worst thing happens? It's just as likely that the best thing possible might happen. And so I try to replace that and kind of challenge the thoughts when they do come up. And I think it's part of that journey of self-growth too, because I think it gives you more confidence. You go into things better prepared. And as far as a new habit, I would like to upkeep. Sometimes with hobbies, I'm not always the most consistent, but I'm really trying to challenge myself. I'll like take on too many things at once. And then before I know it, it's like too much to manage. And so being very intentional with my time, very intentional about which opportunities I take on, which opportunities I let pass by for the time being, because saying no now doesn't mean no forever. And being okay and kind of living in an abundant mindset, not thinking in a scarcity mindset where I'm like, no, I got to do everything now because what if I don't have these opportunities 5-10 years from now? Kind of just being very intentional with my time.
Okay, well, that's cute and everything, but I was expecting something more, like,
Flossing.
Like I pick my nose in public, I eat with my mouth full, blah, blah, blah.
I have no shame about any of that stuff. That's why I wasn't in there.
Because you're an earthly woman, right? And that's what earthly women do.
Those are earthly functions. Very natural.
Very natural. Last question. Let's compose ourselves. Be meditative for a while. Miss Sheyla, why should you be Miss Grand Cuba 2023?
Well, Rafa, all of the contestants, as you know, because you've interviewed them as well, are incredible this year. And so it's less of like, yes, I'm the right choice because this, and it's more knowing what I bring to the table that's unique about myself and that I'm proud to share about myself. And so I think in any pageant you go into, you have to come out knowing, all right, I accept whatever the outcome's going to be, but I'm here to put the best version of myself forward. And so I know what I bring to the table is responsibility, a proven track record of advocacy and following through on my word and just being completely dedicated to whatever challenge I take on. And so I know that if chosen as one of the 2 title holders being crowned during Miss Grand Cuba, I will execute to the fullest of my ability because ultimately I'm the face, you become the face of the organization. You're the one in the picture with the crown, but you represent the dreams of a nation, the hopes of a people, the support of your family and friends, and all of the hard work of your team. So ultimately, it's not even about me. And it's the dedication every day to, even when it gets hard, follow through, do my job, and show up and represent Cuba to the best of my ability that I know I can bring to the table. And I hope that the judges will see shine through come August 20th.
Bravo! Woo! Enough of these stupid, dumb questions. Let's play some games. All right. Let's have fun, baby. You know the game, this or that? I give 2 things and tell me exactly what you prefer.
Yes.
Easy breezy, ice cream or yogurt?
Ice cream.
Any specific flavor?
I'm not too picky. I very rarely eat just scooped ice cream, but I love like the drumsticks or like the waffle cones with chocolate and then the chocolate on the bottom and nuts and the fruity like popsicles. Ooh, the ones with cake on them, the strawberry shortcake popsicles, those are good. So that's more my realm. I don't kind of do sundaes as often.
Okay, well, too much sugar is not good for you anyway, right? Yeah. Especially when you're competing. Cut down on the sugar, babe. Red wine or white wine?
You know, Rafa, I don't drink.
I'm gonna slap you. Why? Red wine is good for you.
And you're gonna like my answer even less because you just said that. So I don't drink. I have had like white wines. White wines are they can be refreshing, but something about I don't love the taste of alcohol. And so if it's to the point where I'm having to make the drink so I'm masking the flavor, maybe I just don't drink the thing.
That's interesting. Would you drink grape juice, like a non-alcoholic substitute?
I love those. Those are really good. The sparkling grape juices and the sparkling apple ciders that people have at weddings and graduations. I love that unironically. I've bought that before to eat with my dinner so I feel fancy. And I drink most of my beverages out of a wine glass, even if they're water or anything else, because I like it. It's like a little romance to life.
Yeah. Good. I don't know. I kind of like wine. I have like a collection of like different wines, but I like red wine because they go well with pasta, with spaghetti.
That is true.
Yeah. Are you a Barbie doll or a Bratz doll?
Barbie all the way. Bratz dolls have super cool style, but I just grew up on Barbie and not only the Barbie dolls, the Barbie movies. So Barbie Fairytopia, Barbie Mermaidia, and I want to say Barbie and Swan Lake too were some of my favorites growing up, and Barbie Pegasus. So those movies we would watch constantly, meaning me and my sister. And since my sister was quite older than me, we also shared a room for several years. And so she'd want to watch, like a scary movie or like Vampire Diaries or like Pretty Little Liars. And I might be a little spooked. So we'd like watch something scary. And then she'd put on a Barbie movie for me afterwards to kind of PEMDAS cancel it out. So I wouldn't have nightmares. So but I grew up on Barbie. I love it.
So did you see the movie?
Yes, I did. Yeah. I did.
I saw it like last weekend. I had some major reservations about it. I didn't really know what to expect because I've been reading all these like reviews that is, it's a very woke movie. It's anti-man. It's a critique against patriarchy, all this, stupid stuff. But I really enjoyed it because I used to play when I was growing up. And a lot of people don't see it that just because Barbie prefers to spend some time with the other Barbies.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's part of nature. I mean, girls do stuff with other girls.
Yeah, Ken was fine. Yeah. The way people were talking about it, I was expecting it to be like they were like abusing the Kens or they were super mean to them, but they just wanted to have girls' night.
Exactly. Now, what is your favorite Barbie doll?
Oh, I had when I was little, and she was my favorite. I broke her completely, and then she became a weird Barbie. But the mermaid Barbie used to be able to put batteries in her back, and she would swim with the tail. Yeah, I had maybe like 3 because I kept breaking them, but I loved them so much growing up as a kid. I would take them in the water with me. I loved everything mermaids, and everything Barbie was everything. I'm starting the collection, so it's not super extensive.
Show us.
So I collect Hallmark ornaments, and I'm trying to get all of the Barbie ones, but I found 2 at a thrift shop. These were gifted to me by a coworker. She had some doubles. So this is cheerleader Barbie. This is 2002. Yep, 2002 and then 2001. And she's a businesswoman.
I like that one too. Yeah. Oh, they're awesome. They're very rare these days. Ooh.
Love them.
Well, maybe they should come up with a scuba diver Barbie. I don't think they have a scuba diver Barbie yet.
They might. I gotta check. But if they don't, I'm here. I'm available. Mattel, hit my line.
What's available is a naked Barbie. Just take her for clothes and she's naked, right?
That's the Sheyla Barbie right there. Boom.
But I love Barbie dolls. I think also the movie is very popular, especially with women, with young girls who play Barbie and little gay boys like me, of course. So there you go. High heels or sneakers?
So high heels. And if I'm not wearing heels, because I love putting together an outfit. It's one of my favorite things. Like I love playing dress up. So that's why I'm here. So if I'm not wearing high heels, it's barefoot. There's like no in between with me. I'm either barefoot or wearing like the highest heels you can find.
I love high heels too.
Mhm.
Yeah. You know, when you talk about like fashion girls, I mean, what women who wear high heels, they wear it not because it's practical, it's because for the look. And it also
Nice.
it also enhances the calves of your legs because you
Mhm.
look much better when you're wearing high heels, especially in swimsuit competition, you know.
Yeah.
Go high heels, one piece swimsuit or a bikini.
It really depends on the activity. I like both. I think both can be super fun. I also think a one piece can be sexy, like a low cut something or just very form fitting. So it really depends on what I'm doing. I appreciate though that like a spring suit, high neck, one sleeve, long sleeve, I don't have to reapply sunscreen as much. But I move well in a bikini. You just have so much freedom of movement. And so it really just depends. But swimsuits all day, every day. I'm always in the water. So I've got both of them.
Great. Dog or cat?
Okay, so another cop out answer, both. I love all animals, but I did just get a cat. I just got a kitten. She a little ball of fluff. She's adorable. Her name's Wednesday. Louis met her earlier today. She's super cute and I just got her, but she's the sweetest little thing.
Did you name her after the character Wednesday from the Addams?
Wednesday Addams. You know when you name a cat though, and then you just call it anything except its name? I'm like, Miss Ma'am. Anytime she does something, I'm like, Miss Ma'am, please. I also call her my little twinkle toot. I don't know where it came from, but it just suits her and she has the cutest little face. She follows me everywhere I go.
Was she a gift to you or did you adopt her?
No, I went to the shelter.
Oh, okay.
The plan is always you go to the shelter, you see which one you connect with. And this little girl, she was 4 months old, only 2 pounds, so just tiny. And she had a bite record, which I thought was hilarious because she was like this big. She was quite literally this big. And she had a bite record and they had to warn me about her. And then I see her and she's this little ball of fluff. And I was like, oh, she has personality.
Oh, that's adorable.
So I brought her home and she has all the personality.
Very important. Okay, if anyone is looking to adopt or to get a furry companion, we recommend doing the shelter rather than shop because, as you know, explosion of animal population in America.
Of course.
There is, and for every puppy or kitten that you buy from a shop, I think one puppy or kitten is euthanized in a shelter. So please stay and neuter if you can do it.
Yes.
That's the only way. Help control the animal population. Pop music or opera?
Depends on the occasion. Pop music's fun. It's like a nice little dance beat, but opera has its moments. I love Phantom of the Opera. There's such a drama to it. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and say I listen to opera all day in my car all the time because that's not true. More often I'll listen to pop music, but opera in those moments when it's right, it's so right.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think there's moments where I like pop music and moments where I like opera. Money or love? Dinero o amor?
Love immediately, but not necessarily romantic love. So I've been in a position, I grew up very, very poor. So I didn't have money, but what I did have was the unwavering support of my parents. And so my parents gave me everything they could and everything they had for a successful start to life and all of the support. And that went so much further than anything material they ever could have given me. And so I've been without money. I'm not afraid to be there again, but I can't imagine how different my life would be if I didn't have the love of my friends, my family, and everyone who supports me.
Do you have a significant other?
I do. We just got an apartment together, which is where I'm coming to you live from.
Is he also Cubano?
No, he's Armenian.
What? That's a weird combination.
It's a fun combination.
Well, I'm sure he's cute, right?
Oh, he's adorable. He's precious. He kind of he hears it most often. What's his name? The boy that plays the newest Spider-Man, Zendaya's boyfriend.
Oh, I forgot.
Tom
Tom something, yeah.
Tom something. He looks a lot like him.
Oh, okay.
He's very cute. He's got like a boyish charm to him, like adorable smile, and he's absolutely the most supportive. He also works in the conservation sphere. So he works at earthday.org, giant environmental nonprofit that championed the start of Earth Day. And so it's really fun to get to share what we do. And sometimes we even get to work together. And so it's a lot of fun.
Armenian food is actually one of the best. I've
Yeah.
had food, yeah. They have their own version of hummus. When you ask anyone who invented hummus, Armenians would probably say, we invented hummus. And the Lebanese,
Okay.
we invented hummus. So you may want to ask them, did you invent hummus?
Oh, that's going to make it for me later.
Yes, yes. Anybody who eats hummus is a homosexual. Joking. I always get that. Sorry.
Oh my goodness.
Number two, baby, favorites. What is your favorite color?
Oh, green. Green, either emerald green or what I call photosynthesis green, which is like the light hitting the leaves, and it's that bright, vibrant green. Love it.
Could that be a hint of the color of gown you're wearing for Miss Grand Cuba?
I don't know. We'll see.
Surprise. What
I
is your
hope.
what is your favorite flower?
Ooh, okay. Orchids remind me a lot of my mom. My mom always had orchids growing up, and we spent so much money buying them for her. She's a terrible gardener. I love the woman to death, but she can't. She kills like every plant she touches. So eventually we started just having to buy her the fake plants, but she always had orchids in the house and she loves them so much. My dad built her this giant like nursery with a bunch of little potted plants, and it's a bunch of orchids, and he goes and he helps her take care of them. And so orchids, they remind me of my mama.
Yeah, orchids are beautiful too. You know, one of the favorite ones is the black orchid. They're very expensive, but
Yes.
they're very beautiful. And
Yes.
they last long too, you know.
There's so many varieties too.
Yeah, there's so many, just so many. Yeah, I love orchids. Who doesn't like orchids? I love orchids. What is your favorite holiday, baby?
Oh, Halloween. I love Halloween. I will have multiple costumes. I have won a costume contest on Halloween. I won a few $100s. I have in my, not this closet, but a different closet. I have a full movie accurate replica of Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman suit from Batman Returns. I love Halloween. And so with the name Wednesday, I'm kind of thinking this year I'm Morticia Adams, and then she's my Wednesday. I get her like a little cat wig.
Yeah.
I'm already planning.
What costume did you wear the last Halloween last year?
Last year. So last year I left for Miss Earth right around Halloween.
But they had a Halloween party, right, Miss Earth?
No. So it was all the virtual events had just ended, and it was like Halloween, 2 days gone on the flight. And so it was very minimal costume. But I went to Halloween Horror Nights, and that's how I celebrated. Went to Halloween Horror Nights on actual Halloween night.
Okay, yeah. I think you're the first girl to mention Halloween as your favorite holiday.
I love Halloween.
Christmas or 4th of July or whatever. Yeah, but it's unusual. Very unusual. Now, what is your favorite drink? I think you drink alcohol. So that's out of the question.
I don't water. I love something like fruity, like the pink drink from Starbucks is really good. Something a little fruity. I do like soda. I know. Dr. Pepper is kind of my vice, but I'm working on it. We're good. Not before the pageant.
Before the pageant. After, you can drink as many Dr. Pepper as you want. You know, cucumber water is good.
Yeah.
So, cucumber, you put it in a mineral water and then you drink it every day. It usually detoxifies your body, purifies your system. It's also good for your skin, you know. Cucumbers. What is your favorite fashion accessory?
Earrings. I love earrings, especially like kind of big fun ones. And like I said, I have the little lemon drop ones. I just think they're like such a fun little cartoony accessory. Sometimes necklaces, I feel like they're too much on my frame if they're not kind of simple. And bracelets bother me for some reason. Having things on my wrist, even if it's a watch, so I never wear a watch.
Oh, interesting.
I think it's because it like bumps into things while I'm writing or if I'm doing something. So earrings all the way, big earrings, outrageous earrings, like little simple ones. How many earring pairs?
How many pairs of earrings do you own?
Oh, honey, I haven't counted, but a lot.
A
lot. If I had to guess, maybe I feel like I'd reach 50.
Okay.
But I've accumulated them over the years too. So I'm a little hoarder. I keep everything. I got a lot of little collections. but I've accumulated them over the years. They're each different, so at least it's not wasteful, but it's enough to where they have their own drawer. It's not a jewelry drawer, it's an earring drawer.
Yeah.
Perhaps a little excessive.
Do you get your earrings like from do you buy them new, or do you get them secondhand, or do you borrow them sometimes? Because upcycling is like is a new thing right now. Everybody's upcycling.
Yes.
So
I mean, all of the above, really. I'm also the youngest sibling, so I get a lot of hand-me-downs too. And the fun thing about my family is we have a lot of women, right? So it's either you have all boys or you have all girls, and most people swing towards all girls. So we have like one giant family communal closet. And so we always kind of swap and share. And I also have all my sister's earrings too. So that's kind of the first thing before I buy a new pair is like, Belly, do you have this? Do you have any red earrings? Do you have this? Or then I'll buy a new pair and then she'll wear them the next time, and then we'll have them for years.
Yeah, nobody will notice anyway. Like, who cares? It's all family, so big deal. What is your favorite fruit? I love fruit.
Oh, my favorite fruit. Raspberries, for sure, but they're expensive. So anytime there's a sale, you'll catch my fridge just full of them and I stock up.
You can make raspberry smoothie.
I love raspberries. I eat them like a little gremlin just out of a bowl. And that's my favorite way. I'll just have a bowl of raspberries.
Yeah. And this little like fuzzy thingy, the fuzzy skin, they kind of like when I swallow them, it's kind of like very ticklish.
Okay.
All berries, by the way, have a high amount of antioxidants. And if you want to like battle aging, if you'll, go eat your berries, sweetie. Okay, you're the best. Who is your favorite actor or actress?
Ooh. I want to say Anne Hathaway, just because I get that I look like her so much. She has to be at this point.
A little. Yeah.
A little bit. I love some of her earlier stuff. The Princess Diaries is a big comfort movie for me. The entire Princess Diaries series. My parents also think I look like
Devil Wears Prada. Did you see it?
The Devil Wears Prada is good. I also like, what was it? It was Bride Wars, or she's with Kate Hudson. I like those too. I like rom-coms. They're kind of a big source of comfort for me, but my parents also love The Princess Diaries, especially when she was younger. She was playing Mia Thermopolis. My parents think I look like her more than, and so sometimes when they miss me, they'll watch The Princess Diary.
I love Anne Hathaway. She did that musical too, Les Miserables.
Mm-hmm. The Range.
Yeah, I mean, she cut her hair. She had like a very, she looks good because she's tall and thin. So
of course,
her face is just very model-esque. So that's why. And plus, she's a good actress. What is your favorite palabra word?
I'm not sure. I'll say, well, I know what it is. I can't say the one I'm thinking of. I will want to say it's like a phrase, but mi amor, because I just mean so many things. It could be like a very affectionate, hi, mi amor. And I call everyone a mi amor. Like with the change in face, it can mean anything. Also like fulana. Fulana is a word we use in Goa. It's kind of like a little slang phrase. It's just a random name. No one's actually named it, far as we're concerned. But it's anytime you're talking about someone and you want to be non-specific, you're like, bueno, fulana did this and that. And you just know they're kind of referencing someone. So that one's always a fun one.
Oh, that's interesting. Well, that's something I learned today.
Yeah.
Cool. That's wonderful. Awesome. You know what? This has been a very, very funny, entertaining, amusing, colorful chat, I have to say. And I think I enjoyed every moment just chatting with you. I mean, to me, I feel like, we've known each other for so long because you and I should go shopping one of these days. And then
Tampa.
We should like shop for all this sustainable stuff, sustainable products and everything. Or even, which reminds me, going back to your gown.
Yeah.
Is it going to be one of those upcycled or recycled stuff?
So it definitely will be sustainable, not in the upcycled sense. And I can't reveal too much, but I think one of the biggest ways to do sustainable fashion, and this was again part of my platform, the first go around at the international level, was that sustainable fashion doesn't have to be like this outrageous upcycled, like I'm literally wearing bits and pieces of trash to be like truly sustainable. And so it'll definitely be something rented, maybe something borrowed. And I've done that as well too. That's one of the best ways. Or even taking an old gown, making it new again, kind of changing some of the bits and pieces up. We'll see.
It's funny because of your Miss Earth experience, you can because okay, I know there are 2 crowns that are going to be awarded. Yes. I think I heard a 3rd crown is also going to be awarded. That's what Lisa Garcia on her Instagram live last week, I believe. So we don't know what that is. It could be Miss Universe, who knows, But anyway, so for now we have Grand and International. With your Miss Earth experience, you could actually incorporate your platform about environment with into both pageants.
Of course.
I'm thinking with Grand, because your platform is Stop the War and Violence. You may probably want to incorporate the Stop the War against Mother Earth with pollution, all these harsh chemicals like polluting the environment. You can use that, and also should you go to international, of course, the SDG program that they have.
Of course.
Very big.
Goal 14 and goal 13. So 13 climate action, 14 life underwater, which is my main focus on those 2 as of now, especially with my work within the UN Ocean Decade is essentially all 14. But I've thought about it at length. I don't do anything without careful consideration, a lot of thought behind it. And so I really made sure that I wouldn't have to change who I was, or I wouldn't have to modify my platform to kind of fit into a pageant. And so even with Grand, you don't even have to go as far as, we'll stop the war on Mother Earth. You can talk about all the auxiliary adjacent effects of war, because the casualty and the devastation that happens within a war isn't just on the battlefield between soldiers. It's also the surrounding communities, the devastating environmental effects from blast and sonar and different environmental weapons. It's also the devastation that's wreaked through villages whenever something's going on in their country and even adjacent countries. And so I think environmentalism is something that affects everything else. Of course, Mother Earth is the center and the foundation of our beings. She is the center of all life. And so anything we do to each other, we also do to her.
Exactly. Because we only have one.
And everything we do to her is also doing it to each other, because in inflicting violence on her, we're inflicting violence on each other. Because as we know, the ones who do the least to kind of spread climate change and also worsen its effects and are doing the least pollution are who are getting the worst of these effects from the devastation that's being caused.
Right, exactly. Wow. Yes. Reading some comments here. Daniela, if you're happy and would you clap your hands? Why?
Yes.
Yes. We're all gonna clap our hands because we're happy. Luisito, this interview has been so charming and warming and inviting. Yes, thank you, mi amor. Yes, it's so true. Sheyla has been an amazing guest. And he's saying the 3rd crown is a surprise, so we don't know. So Lise is like,
noted.
Let's just deal. So she's not saying anything. She's going to surprise. So people out there, I encourage you to attend the Miss Grand Cuba 2023 pageant, which will be held in Tampa, Florida on August 20th. And it's making history because it's the first ever Miss Grand Cuba to be staged, to be organized. Okay, so please support our beautiful guest, Sheyla, in her journey to Miss Grand Cuba / Miss International Cuba pageant and surprise pageant, whatever. Follow her on Instagram. Your Instagram is at Sheyla Ravelo Perez, correct?
Correct. Yes, it's just my full name.
Yeah, I'm gonna put it down in a chat box, in the comment box below, so you guys can follow her. Now, before I let you go, is there a message that you would like to convey to your followers in sub-Saharan Africa, in the North Pole, and Antarctic, and everywhere else in the world? Go.
Of course. So as I said earlier in the interview, my candidacy for these international pageants, for any pageant ever, isn't about me. I represent the hopes and dreams of a nation and the hard work of an organization to prepare me. And so to that extent, I would not be where I am without all of you that are tuning in right now and all of the supporters at home. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much. I want to encourage you to dare to dream. I want to encourage you to stand strong in who you are, whatever that may be. Don't compromise on your values. Be authentically, unapologetically who you are, and the right opportunities will find their way to you once you start living authentically. I love you all so much, and thank you for tuning in.
Beautiful. And on that note, I wish you all the viewers, Critical Beauty Salon, to continue supporting all the Cuban delegates actually for this competition, and also please love everybody. You know, stop with hatred, stop with the bullying, stop with the harassment. Okay, we're all humans, we're not perfect. So life is too short, and learn how to laugh, live, and love. Sheyla, mi amor, I'm sending you all virtual kisses and virtual hugs, and we're going to be in touch. And once the video is uploaded, I'm going to tag you so you can share with your followers all over the world. Have a blessed and wonderful day, and I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, Rafa. Maraming salamat po. Thank you and gracias.
Walang anuman, baby. Bye.